Christina DeWar, Katie Fairbanks, MCAT, and Missoula Current. In 206, we have Commissioner Strohmeyer and Slotnick, Terry Powers, Ann Hughes, Vinnie Pavlish, Maddie Scott, Annie Cathy, and Kristen Sperry.
Thank you. Any public comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will roll into the consent agenda. We have all of 2 items on the consent agenda. What do you think?
I think we should make these consent agenda items happen.
I will second that. Further discussion or comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have no action items today.
No.
Yeah, we have a letter. We have a letter here
We do have a letter.
supporting CSKT's congressionally directed spending request of Senator Sheehy. Any, want to say anything about this? This is related to
Creation of a rec yard at the facility there in up at the CSKT. And this is just related to their making sure they have adequate facilities when they're housing inmates as they.
great. That seems like a good. That seems
and
like a good ask.
Support of their ask. Yeah.
And what kind of ask is this? Just
I
learning about
believe
these
it's
things.
Congressionally directed.
Yeah, it's an earmark.
It's an earmark.
It's an earmark, just like we discussed for ourselves.
Okay.
I don't know what the amount is, but
Yeah.
seems like something to support. Okay, we'll sign that. Anything going on with the legislature today?
Just 2 bills that we're going to talk about today. We'll start with Senate Bill 2, which is one of Senator Hertz's TIF bills. This is the TIF bill that would make it so that newly when a TIF expires, newly taxable values are not, the property that comes online would not be included in newly taxable. And so
No return on investment for the taxpayer.
correct. So it would basically eliminate the fact that all the value that's created inside the either the targeted economic development or the URD would in essence not become newly taxable property. So that is a bill that we are proposing. It has its first floor vote today on the Senate floor because it's considered a revenue bill. And so we'll see what happens with that, but we are messaging opposition to that one.
So can you just remind me of the entirety of process? So let's say if the Senate says votes yay today.
Yeah, it'll go to the House and go to a committee for a hearing on
Just the
committee,
same committee, then the floor.
then the floor.
And after all of that, then it goes to the governor.
Correct. Yeah. So that bill's up today on the Senate floor during their floor session. And then also in the Senate is House Bill 221, which is one of the elections bills they're working on. That is the election bill that would combine municipal elections with county elections. So basically move the off-year municipal elections, which are currently odd year, to even year elections. We're primarily opposing that based off the fact that it will create additional ballot styles and then also lengthen the form of the ballot. So if you think about just the federal election that we just were in, for example, imagine that ballot now even longer and how much longer it will actually take to get to results and for election staff to finish. So we had election staff working pretty much from the start that morning, actually hours before the public was actually able to vote so that they could set up in order to be ready to start serving the public when polls opened, and then having to work continuously until the count was complete, which was let's say more than 48 hours later. And so if we add pages to the ballot, we in essence lengthen that time, which just leads to the more likelihood of human error occurring because we have exhausted staff and volunteers who are in essence in that process.
So just a couple of questions. Maybe we'll do question on the second one first.
Sure.
What problem is this bill attempting to solve?
That's a great question. I don't know what the problem is it's trying to solve. The claimed benefit, right, is that in essence it will increase voter turnout for municipal elections because those general elections usually have, as well as county offices, state offices, and federal offices on them. And so the belief is that it will increase voter turnout for those city elections.
Do you know if voter turnout for city elections statewide has not been good?
It's always lower. I can't say, it's hard to define good versus not.
For sure. I guess I should phrase it better. I get that. I'm wondering in Montana, do we do a bad job in these off-year elections with getting voter turnout? Is this the problem that needs to be solved? People just aren't voting in these off-year elections. So we need to fix this.
I don't think so. I think it's consistent with other states.
Yeah.
Okay. So House Bill 2.
Senate Bill 2.
Senate Bill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. House Bill 2 is the big budget bill.
Yeah, I knew that one too. I
Yep,
just.
I know.
brain goofed.
Just doing it because of the transcript, not
Yeah.
because of the.
It's House Bill 2 is such a big one. So on Senate Bill 2, to what degree is Mako being vociferous about their?
Mako, as I say, I believe Mako was an opponent. I'm not sure if Mako was.
And the league?
The league has been an active opponent, I know, on that. And I believe, like I said, I believe Mako's been in opposition as well.
Are there proponents besides Mr. Hertz?
I do not remember from the committee if there was.
No economic development organization.
Yeah, I'd say what the list of
And
proponents.
speaking of economic development organizations who I would imagine would be really excited about TIFs continuing on, are they, it's META coming out?
Yeah, there were a significant number of opponents that did include the business community as part of that. It is, I will say, the talking point that is most effective, in my opinion, for Mr. Hertz is the fact that you've been providing services to these locations throughout the creation of that.
Yeah.
And so therefore they already have that. And I think the other argument that goes with it is then in essence, instead of those new properties adding to the increased revenue for local governments providing those services, instead it drives down the number of mills necessary across the entirety of the jurisdiction. Right, I think that's the argument that he makes for why this is a necessary bill from his perspective.
Yeah, I see that. And TIFs and TEDs have been fabulously successful at catalyzing development, and the on-the-ground evidence for that is not just here in our city and our county, but across the state. And why one would want to do away with catalyzing economic development?
Because I think the other narrative is that they are rife for abuse and lining the pockets of certain businesses that proponents
Interesting to
are.
you imagine going out to the old mill site and telling those 600 employees who are working hard every day, you all are
Yes.
here at the trough of abuse while
Yes.
you are working at your job.
That is true.
So those are our two that we have for today. A lot more
Great.
on Thursday as the session starts to pick up again now that we're back from transmittal break. So
Vinny, is there anything you're watching at the legislature? You're like really,
Right, Anne has such a long list of bills that I'm
yeah,
I'm
these guys,
just trying to keep track of them. very
these guys
small
have
portion.
made a full-time job of this.
Yeah,
the other piece I'll throw out there when we look at our overall picture, what I would say is we have about 105 bills that are going the direction that we want them to go, and about 65 that are not. So on balance, we're being fairly effective from our perspective in this
I
legislative
added that
session.
down to 62.
62, okay, there you go.
So the question is, are the 62 so bad that
That it outweighs.
the number of good ones?
Hey, that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Pretty bad ones that are going the way we want to go too, so that counts.
it does,
Remember at the outset, we said playing defense was a big part of our goals.
yeah, for sure.
Martin or Katie, anything?
I'm good. You guys covered it. Thanks.
Yep, no questions. Thank you.
Okay,
I think that's
that's it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.